What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be completely going over our entire history with Scania from start to finish, from the day we bought our red truck all the way up until current time right now, and what is going to be happening moving forward. So stay here, don't go anywhere. Towards the middle of this video, we're going to be talking about ways you can send your inquiries in to Scania unofficially, to potentially have questions you have emailed me or messaged me in the past answered. So don't go anywhere. So where do we start? I've had so many people ask me how the Scania situation came to be, what is my involvement with it, what are the future plans, and that's where we're going to be answering all these questions here. And starting from the beginning, I have so many people ask me, why Scania, why these trucks, why this situation? Well, here's all of your answers all in one video. So as a content creator, I'm always looking for ways to be unique, to do something different, to do something that no one else has done. And that's literally, the million-dollar question when it comes to creating content, is doing things that someone else hasn't already done, or doing them in a better way to make them more entertaining. While also, I have my own personal businesses that keep me busy too. So there's that. Needless to say, everything changed in my life with heavy-duty semi-trucks, social media, and everything to do with Scania on August 16th, 2023. And that's the day we bought the red 144, the Vermeulen truck that was a Dutch semi-truck that was used by a carnival operator. But we're getting too far ahead of ourselves now. So back in the name of looking for content, doing things different, and I buy and sell junk, tractors, trucks, whatever I can get my hands on. And I'm scrolling Craigslist one night, which, as most of you know, Craigslist has kind of been phased out. No one really uses it much. Mostly it's Facebook Marketplace. And every now and then I hop on Craigslist and just check it, because sometimes people put deals on there and they go missed. And I'm just typing semi-truck for sale. And this is back when we were living in Tampa, Florida area. And I happened to stumble across a listing on Craigslist for a European show truck. And I couldn't believe when I clicked on it that I saw a Scania truck located in Daytona Beach for sale. It was absolutely I was mind blown. I couldn't believe it. What in the world is this? They originally wanted $20,000 for this truck. And most of you have seen the condition of it once we got it home and started making videos with it. That's a lot for that truck here in the U.S. and even in Europe. But one problem arose when I found this ad. There was no contact phone number and no direct email. And if any of you have ever dealt with Craigslist, you know that when you have to click the Craigslist email that hopefully leads you to the person that has it for sale, 9 times out of 10, you'll never get an email back, ever. So later that night, well, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I sent this email. I'm like, send them my phone number. I'm like, I'll buy the truck. I can be there tomorrow. And I went to bed knowing I probably was never going to get an email back, and I didn't know where the truck was or how to find it. I knew it was in Daytona Beach somewhere. Woke up the next morning, I had an email back with a phone number. And I called this fella that had it for sale. He was currently out of state because he was a carny, as we call them here in the U.S., carnival owner, operator, worker. And that's why the truck was originally brought here to the USA with this person to carry around their carnival rides when they moved here to the USA. And the best I can tell is the truck came to the U.S. around 2016, and with it being a 1997, would put it here in the USA several years before it was supposed to be here. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. But we got a phone number, got an address. I called my buddy Paul up, who had a small plane. You can see some footage here on the screen where we hopped in a plane, avoided a crazy thunderstorm, and flew to Daytona Beach, met with someone where the truck was being stored at, worked a deal, brought it home for $16,000, and that opened up the Scania can of worms. So we get the truck bought, we're bringing it home. Ryan and I are driving it from Daytona Beach all the way to Tampa. It's about an hour and a half drive normally when you're driving a regular truck or car doing 70 miles an hour. This truck was limited to 55 miles per hour, and I didn't at the time know you had to use the clutch between shifts, because every other truck here in the USA, heavy-duty semi-truck, you just float gears. And it turns out, I didn't know at the time, this truck had a synchronized transmission. So skip ahead. The truck breaks down a few times. We get it home. It has leaks, whatever. And my mind's going crazy of all the content we're going to be doing. And as you can see, the content has went absolutely wild since then. So fast forward, I'm making some videos with the truck. We're just diving into it. I'm making mistakes. Turns out this was a special truck that hadn't been around on the show circuit around Europe. It had all kinds of custom stuff. At the time, I just didn't know. I was unaware of the community. I didn't realize how crazy, not crazy, but how dedicated the European trucking community was to trucks, even if they are 27 years old and full of rust and rotten and not worth fixing. We pissed some people off, but in the meantime, we've made some amazing relationships in the time frame of getting the truck in August to sometime in December, where we end up visiting the factory. I've made a really good friend, Villa, at Ylivoimala in Finland. He sent us over some filters and parts to service the truck, get it back in better operating condition. And then went as far as sending us some injectors and a programmed computer for higher horsepower. And that's what led to burnouts and doing crazy stuff. And led us to meeting someone at the factory, Mr. Matthias Lundholm. Now, Matthias has become, I don't want to say a fatherly figure because I don't want to make him feel old, but like a brother, just someone I really care about. We've spent a lot of time together on different projects within Scania and doing different things, and same with Villa over in Finland. But Matthias invited myself over to Sweden to tour the factory. And at the same time, I figured I'd go meet Villa for the first time and, you know, just shake hands with people I never met, people I've been talking to on the phone for quite a while. And this is my first time out of the country going to, well, at all, just leaving the USA. So I got my passport, set everything up. Like, okay, we're going to fly to Finland, meet Villa first, stay with him for a night, and then he and I were going to take a ferry or take a quick flight back over to Stockholm and go tour the factory together because he had never done that. And I figured with him supporting us with parts and answering lots of questions we had, the least I could do was take him on a factory tour that I was invited to go on, and that's what we did. But we ran into a snag. I ran into a snag on my flight over to Finland. A flight got delayed. My baggage got delayed. I ended up missing the flight that would have taken myself directly to Finland, and ended up going directly to Stockholm. And that's where I met Villa for the first time in the airport in Helsinki, I believe, where we ended up flying back to Stockholm together. And like I said, first time we'd met, we talked on the phone quite a bit. This is starting to sound like a weird love story. I promise it's not. But anyway, so we toured the factory, met Matthias. It was great. The videos started flowing from the factory, test driving a brand new 770 for the first time, seeing how everything works. It's insane, the amount of technology that are in the trucks and how efficient the factories are, and everyone is so welcoming and everything's so well put together in Sweden. And it was a great time. And I went back to Finland, made some videos there, hung out with Villa and met his crew, Misa and Ali and all those guys, and Villa's wife, just amazing people, and had a really good time. Now we come back to the US, making more content, and I'm thinking in my head, man, I'd really love to find a way to have a brand new Scania here in the USA. So I messaged Matthias and was like, hey, you know, I'd really like to get a new truck here in the USA. I put together a kind of like a proposal with some ideas on what we could do. And he's like, well, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask, but the Swedish way is always a no. It's always a no. It's never a yes. It's never a yes immediately. We have to do lots of thinking and lots of PowerPoints, and then it might be a yes. So I went on, you know, creating content. We decided to go do some burnouts with the red Scanias, sled pulling. A lot of people didn't agree with the things we were doing, but that's just the American way of doing things and creating content, and I love diesel and horsepower. Now, a lot of people have asked us, why did we cut the roof off the truck? While visiting Sweden for the first time, I was taken over to Svimpa's shop and seen the red truck that he had removed the roof off of. And I figured, well, we'll just do that, but be a funny one, because why not? And the other issue is the truck was so tall and not roadworthy, we couldn't drive it down the road, so we cut the top off so we can put it on a trailer and take it to races and sled pulls and burnouts. You know, why not? Well, that upset a lot of people. And it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't to deface the truck, the brand, or the name, or anything like that. It was simply just so we could put it on a trailer and take it places. And the truck was already in bad shape. We still have the truck, obviously, but that's why we cut the top off of it. Now, skip ahead to, we're in December now. I visited the factory. We've cut the roof off the truck. January of 24 rolls around, and I believe it was January, somewhere in there, I'm not sure. But I find another Scania for sale. Raymond Denboer in Canada has this truck for sale. It's our white one that we have now. We currently have the engine out of. And I was like, I got to get another one to keep making more content with, to keep riding the Scania train and doing stuff different than any other creator's done. So I find it in Canada, fly up to Canada, my first time in Canada, drive it home. And I had some problems at the border with this truck. They threatened to deport me back to the U.S. and keep the truck. I was under the assumptions that you could self-import vehicles, which you can, but not heavy-duty and commercial trucks. So I had all this paperwork together that I thought I was going to be able to self-import the truck. Found out real quick that I couldn't. When I was at the U.S. border, the border patrol agent there who was reviewing my paperwork, really nice guy, very professional, politely said, this is not going to work. You have to go back to Canada and figure out your stuff. So they turn me around. I go back to Canada, and I go back to the border to go back into Canada. And they asked me why the U.S. turned me away and why I could not go to the USA. And I explained to them the situation, but they didn't like that. Why was the USA turning away one of their own citizens? They completely looked past this truck situation. And right then and there, they threatened to impound the truck and take me back across the border and drop me off. Well, I begged and pleaded for my life that they would not do that and give me 24 to 48 hours to figure this out. Well, one of the agents there talked to their manager and allowed me 48 hours to get my paperwork in line and get the truck and myself out of the U.S. If not, they would be putting out a warrant because they give me this timeline. It had nothing to do with that I can't go back to Canada because I've been back there a few times since, but just that situation with the truck, they didn't really like it, the uncertainties of it. So I'm going to say we got the paperwork in line, came back across the border with the right paperwork instantly, no problem, brought our white Scania home. And in this time, we were making lots of content again. People are driving this truck down the road because it's road legal and it's in working condition. And I'm emailing back and forth with Matthias, and we set up a meeting February of 2024 to fly back to Sweden and meet with Mats Gunnarsson, at the time the vice president of Scania Trucks. Now, going into this meeting, again, Matthias is like, don't expect a yes. It's very unlikely that this is going to happen, but, it doesn't hurt to ask. At this time, we're killing it on views. Some videos are doing a few million views, 500,000, 600,000, whatever it may be. And we go into this lunch. We have lunch. We have a meeting shortly after, and I plead my case. And there's myself. I think I have my wife Amber with me. Matthias, Mats Gunnarsson was there, and like 4 or 5 other people. And told him everything I wanted to do, and he said, yes, let's do it. And you would have thought, I don't even know. You could have heard a penny hit the floor, a needle hit the floor, as we say here in the USA, a pin drop. Because no one could believe that Matt just said, let's move forward with this. Because the U.S. was so taboo, it was nothing that Scania or anyone within the company ever thought would be happening again. So we speed right on out of this meeting here. I'm like, could not believe it. Matthias can't believe it. No one on the table can believe that Matt's just approved us to build a truck to bring to the USA. Wow, it was crazy. Like the emotions running through me. Here I am, this content creator from little Dade City, Florida, grew up, dad at a tractor dealership. We was in the equipment business my whole life, still am today, and I just thrown back. I'm like, well, this is insane. This is crazy. This is crazy. So that afternoon we had some meetings. There were some guys to help spec the trucks. They were in that meeting. The next morning they were in my hotel lobby We're eating breakfast, and we spent almost the whole day speccing this truck out to come to the U.S. You would not believe the amount of boxes you can check and uncheck and the different specs you can get with Scania trucks. It's insane because they build a truck for nearly every market but North America. But I was able to work with those guys, and we were able to spec it as close as possible to what I thought would be a U.S. spec truck, but still look good with a little bit of chassis length. A lot of people have criticized us over that, but it's the U.S. spec and it looks cool. So we spent the whole day, got the truck specced out. We made some spec ups, what we call them in the U.S., where now that I've had the truck, I think we need to change a few things, but we'll get into that here shortly. And yeah, I flew home. Still couldn't believe it. We were waiting on build dates. This is in February. We finally got a build date in June for August. The truck was built in August. I flew back to Finland in August, went to the Power Truck Show, had a good time with all the guys from Voimala, came home for a few days and flew right back to Sweden and built the truck on the assembly line. And man, I cannot express how clean, how smooth of a process the assembly line is where these trucks are built, and the different trucks that flow down the assembly line, from having like an 8x8 truck in front of us, 8-wheel drive, like off-road truck in front of our truck on the assembly line, and a battery electric truck behind us. Like, it's crazy to me that they can build 3 totally different trucks on the same assembly line, and they do it every day. And then the truck arrives in the U.S. December 5th. And Villa flies over from Finland. I was like, hey, won't you come over? We'll fly up to Baltimore and drive the truck back to Tennessee. And that's exactly what we did. We toured the U.S. Capitol. We got to see the White House. That was a really good time. I've been to the White House once before. Villa had never been. So he had a great time. We drove it back from Baltimore. We went through some snow. I thought it was the craziest thing. Driving this truck from a Scandinavian manufacturer through snow here in the U.S. was really surreal. Having the truck here, making content with it over the last almost a year now. Here we are, creeping up on the end of November. The truck's almost been here a year. We're about to do the first service on it. And it's still just crazy to me. And the outpour of support from people all around the world. Our audience went from being like 90% US-based audience before our Scania journey to now having more than 60% of our viewers from around the world. And on our Scania videos, now we're seeing close to 80% viewership not in the US, which is insane that we have viewers all around the world. And our support when I've been to Europe, running into people on the streets of Stockholm, we have fans there, and it's really cool, crazy at the same time, and thinking back to my roots is something I would have never expected. But yeah, we have the truck, we've been taking to truck shows, and that's where it leads us up to this point now, where I have had thousands, and I mean thousands of messages and emails inquiring about these trucks, when they're going to come to the U.S., if they're going to come to the USA. And these are all questions I don't have the answers to. I don't know if they're going to be coming to the U.S. or not. But that's why here in the middle of the video, this is an unofficial, let me make this very clear, this is an unofficial email for people to contact, not to contact, but to submit messages and requests and ideas about Scania trucks in the USA. And this is so that if these trucks make their way to the U.S. market, we will have a specific spot to go back and start combing through the list of people that are either interested in buying trucks or becoming dealers or manufacturers are looking to build bodies for them. Because I've had people messaging us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, email, and it's all just been scattered everywhere over the last year. And trying to go back and find all those different contacts and messages would be nearly impossible, or take days, weeks, months. So if any of you are, well, I know for a fact there are lots of people that have this question, but the email you're going to punch in is Askscaniausa@gmail.com. So for anyone, and I hope that this is a spot that everyone will absolutely flood to, and this can be for people that, like I said, are looking to either be a dealer, because I've had lots of major dealer networks ask me and email me, body companies that build, like, whether it be overland bodies, dump truck, waste truck, concrete, doesn't matter, whatever. body upfitting companies, people wanting to buy the trucks, um, people wondering when they're going to come. Anything Scania question related you may have, email Askscaniausa@gmail.com. Again, guys, this is a unofficial statement that I'm making. This is an unofficial email. This is nothing to do with anything coming out of Scania corporate or the factory. I need to make that very transparent. This is not something that Scania has asked me to make this video about or asked me to create an email for inquiries, whatever it may be. But I just would like to put everything in one place so that if they ever did ask for anything or anything were to come up, everyone's inquiries and questions are all in one spot and they can be turned over to Scania when they are ready, to do whatever they may want to do. If they don't end up coming to the U.S., all we can say is, hey, we've supplied them with everything and we've tried. But you never know. It's good to be prepared, I feel. So AskScaniausa@gmail.com. Send everything over, guys. But let's get back to the story. We have our truck. We've been making content with it. The truck arrived December 5th. Shortly after that, we drove this thing straight up to Iowa Customs, and we built a custom deck plate, hub covers, and tried to Americanize this Scania and get it ready for the Mid-America Truck Show, which we took it to. So fast forward, we're taking our truck to the Mid-America Truck Show, which is the biggest truck show and convention and trade show in the entire United States. And this is a huge thing. We teamed up with the guys from Iowa Customs, took the truck there. It was in their booth, and it was insane, mind-blowing, the amount of people that could not believe this truck was in the U.S., and the amount of people that were visiting the U.S. from foreign countries that couldn't believe it was here, and the questions, I was absolutely overwhelmed. It got to be the point where 5, 6 o'clock rolled around. I'm like, I'm out of here. See you guys. I've got to go because I'm tired of talking. And it wasn't like a bad thing. I just spent the entire day talking about the truck, and it was crazy. But that's when lots of questions started coming up, and that's why we're providing this email for people to start asking these questions, and at some point maybe they will be answered with, the answers we all want to hear. And we've took the truck around, went to lots of truck shows this year. We've taken it to international dealerships and done collaborations with Thompson Truck Group. I had a really great time. We've hauled things with the truck, and we've done lots of really cool things, and that circles us back around to people asking us to load the truck and haul and do things the truck was meant to do, and haul really heavy stuff. But with the truck being here on a visa, as I've been calling it, or special exemption, that limits to what we can and cannot do in a really big way, as almost everything we do with the truck, all the way down to it driving out of the parking lot, almost has to be approved by the U.S. government, just because it's not technically a truck that is authorized to be here full-time, be used for commercial use. So we can't do anything overweight. We can't do anything where we're having to pull special permits because we don't have a DOT number attached to the truck. The truck was originally supposed to leave back in October here to go back to Europe, but we asked the U.S. government, the few different special agencies, I won't get into all the details, to extend the permission slip of the truck being here, and it has been approved to stay here until December 5th or December 6th of 2026, which is great. And it's a really great sign that Scania was interested in keeping the truck here, whether it be for myself to keep making content that's viewed around the world, or maybe there's ulterior motives. I'm not sure. But we have the truck for another year, which is obviously really great. We have lots of plans for it. We have different lighting we're going to be putting on the truck, changing a few things for the next show season. Stacks, we're going to be putting stacks on the truck. Our friends at Villa and Misa from Yuli Voimala will be coming over this winter. We'll be building a custom one-off stack kit to go on it. It's going to be really sick. We're putting bunk beds in the truck. Luxa, I have never been able to pronounce it right. Special Vehicles in Sweden, who does all the long line and custom fits from the factory, has made us a custom bunk bed to go in the truck. So when Ryan and I are going to truck shows, we can both have a bed to sleep on. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. But lots of things coming down the pipeline of this truck in the near future, video-wise. I've been really, really busy with our tractor business and other things we've had going on here, but we're going to be getting back into making some Scania content in the very near future, I promise. So some cool things I want to point out we've done with the truck. We've taken it to the Mid-America Truck Show, of course. We've taken it to several different shows. We took it to Onaway, where the Great Lakes Big Rig Challenge is in Michigan, where they pull loaded wagons, trailers, that weigh 140,000 pounds uphill, and they race bobtail and do semi-truck racing. Now, the Scania didn't win, obviously. We knew that wasn't going to happen. This truck is a machine that's made for precision and comfort, not to get there the fastest. But it is the highest horsepower truck here in the USA from the factory. 770 horsepower and 2,750 foot-pounds of torque. Now, what does that mean compared to, let's say, a Peterbilt or Kenworth that has 600 horsepower and 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, but with a manual transmission? Yes, you can grab gears in a manual transmission and shift faster and control your clutch and take off faster and do all these different things, but not one single truck that we raced against or we were anywhere near at that event was completely factory bone stock. So yes, we didn't win, but it was just great to be a part of it, to experience it the first time. We have our own Kenworth race truck now we're building. I'd love for it to be a Scania racing truck. That might be a future thing, who knows? But just getting to experience that, take the truck up there really close to Canada. People absolutely loved it. Just recently we took it to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We got to make laps around the Atlanta Motor Speedway NASCAR track. These are all firsts that Scania trucks have ever done. And I'm so proud and happy to be a part of something that just here in the US with a truck, you know, to be the first to ever do things. Now, the truck only did 93 miles an hour, which is pretty dang quick. That's almost 150 kilometers an hour, nearly double the speed of what these trucks are supposed to go. On European roads. Now, we hope to find ways to open it up, maybe find an airstrip and crack that 120, 130 mile per hour mark and set the record for the fastest Scania in the world. That'd be pretty cool. But if anyone has any cool ideas that we can do that surround what our boundaries are, and like I've said, we cannot use it for commercial use. We can't haul anything overweight. We'd love to hear everyone's ideas, but do not send these ideas to our email we just shared. You can send those to brucewilsonshop@gmail.com. The email for you to send any Scania-related questions that we're going to try to turn some of this over to corporate would be Askscaniausa@gmail.com. So don't get those two mixed. Let's keep it very separated with ideas that we can do with the truck we currently have versus, you know, if the trucks were to be here in the U.S. Now, future plans. Like I said, find a way to have the fastest Scania in the world. That'd be really cool. We're going to be going to the Mid-America Truck Show again. We're going to be changing a few things on the truck and visiting lots and lots of other truck shows this year and finding just different ways to do things and be unique in the content creator, just being different on social media, because that's the name of the game. So hope that answers a lot of questions. Comment down below, and I'll try to answer lots of questions that may be down here in the comments on this video. Thank you to everyone in Sweden that has made this project possible. Mats Gunnarsson being the VP at Scania that approved this adventure. Matthias, who has dedicated an absolutely insane amount of time to making this possible. I mean, literally without Matthias, we would not have a new truck here, would not have any contacts at Scania. And how did I forget our Scania commercial that we shot in the desert in Spain? We'll put some clips up here also where Ryan and I and Amber flew over and I got to be the truck driver in a Scania worldwide campaign. That was really, really cool. Great recognition there. I'm glad that the brand wants to continue to do stuff with myself outside of this truck. That was really awesome. Look forward to doing other cool things like that. And thanks to everyone in the Scania marketing department, Scania USA, Kelly and Jorg and Josh, the whole crew here in the US that have supported things we've been doing with the truck. And of course, Villa. You know, he's opened up so many doors to us with truck shows and parts supplies for our old Scanias here. We've got our black Scania here in the US that I want to get fixed up. We've got to work on the engine. It's just a matter of finding time to sit down and dedicate a few days and get away from this equipment business. I'm not hoping, but I'm thinking it's going to slow down a little bit this winter, and we'll have some opportunities to do different things with social media and YouTube videos. So, anyone with questions, inquiries, anything related to Scania trucks and the USA, please email Askscaniausa@gmail.com. And again, this is an unofficial email account. This is just myself gathering up any information people are seeking regarding these trucks. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and like I said, comment down below and answer as many questions as possible. And thanks again for Matthias and everything he's done. We'll see you later.